Okay, so guys, we're here doing a voiceover. This is not our job, and we've just been called out here to repair this problem. And there is that problem right there. I didn't want to take this on because I don't like doing repairs, but because it was a neighbour of a job that we done, got chatting with him and I just couldn't turn him down. So I said, look, what we're going to do is we're going to try our best and repair it. We can never guarantee this, but anyway, having said that, we said let's give it a crack and try. What's happened here, I don't know. It seems like the floor's dropped. One side is concrete, the other side is wood, and it seems like it's completely dropped. So we started taking up all the planks. The glue, they shouldn't be coming up this easy. So I don't know what glue they've used, so they might have used the wrong adhesive. But as you can see, as we're picking it up, all the chunks is coming out, literally. So we're gonna have to address that. They've also left a blade, can you see, right there? The fitters have left a blade, a tip of a blade underneath the LVT, which just shows that they could not have been good LVT fitters, because that should not be underneath LVT. Anyway, so what we're doing here is we're grinding it. We're grinding that gap so there's absolutely no lip, because it's dropped so much, there's a big lip. So we're grinding it as best as we can with the grinder. It's obviously connected to the vacuum, so there's no dust. Thank God for that, because that is a disaster. So we're grinding it all down. We're trying to get it as smooth as possible. Once we do that, we'll prime it quickly, and then what we'll do is we'll start to fill in them gaps. This grinder does help because it just saves a lot of time. As you can see, it takes all of that adhesive and extra residue up. So that's one thing, and it's also helping us achieve a level finish, because as I said, the other side has completely dropped. So yeah, you can see that looks pretty bad. So anyway, we're going to clean up now, vacuum up all of the debris that's been left over and the dust, and we're going to start progressing with filling in the gaps. So this mixture I'm going to make very thick, so it kind of fills in them gaps as best as we can. So as you can see there, I've got scrim tape, and the reason why I'm going to apply that is because I want to reinforce that gap. I want to reinforce it as best as I can. So I believe this should achieve a better bond and a better reinforcement. I'm not only doing it once, so I'm not just going to put one layer. We've put 3 layers just to hold it as best as we can. And then we're going to obviously do the same thing again, let that dry and go over it, which we are doing now. So we're going over that scrim tape, and then we're going to let that dry and then redo it again. But the drying time on this is just so jarring. It takes ages. I've got to know Terry much more than I did, as we've just been sitting on that sofa talking a whole lot of nonsense. So anyway, yeah, letting that dry. We've got so bored, we started putting the fan there. We had to get the fan there just to increase the drying time, because it was just taking ages. As you can see, when it starts going light grey, that's what you want. You want that all over. So once it starts going light grey, that's when we can start thinking, yeah, we're getting there. Another little tip is always clean your bucket once done. Look at that lovely view, lovely garden. Anyway, back to the job. So you can see it's going now. Once it gets to this type of a consistency and this type of color, we start sanding it down. So any like protruding areas or lumps and bumps, we just sand it down. I like doing it by hand in small areas, because it's just easier to gauge exactly what you want and what consistency you want, so on and so forth. So that's exactly what I've done there. And now we're going over it one more time. This part is crucial, because you need to make sure that you get it completely level, and there's an art to this, there's a skill to this, so you can't put too much pressure. The angle has to be correct, otherwise you'll be going and chasing that dip over and over again. So yeah, that's all done now, and now we're just flattening it out, smoothing it out as best as you can. just to make sure that that is completely flat. Now, it's not going to be level, but it is going to be flat. For us to make it level, we have to lift up majority of the floor and go over it again and all of that crazy stuff. So we're not going to be able to achieve that on this repair. But look, thumbs up from me. I'm happy with that. That's flat. There's nothing wrong with that. Running your hand through it should feel like glass, and that's exactly what it feels like. Now I'm going to show you now what I mean about flat. And it's flat and not level. So it's flat. So when I put the LVT on it, I'll use this as a straight edge. You can see that it's not level. You see there's a very small little movement, a gap there. Again, if we wanted to get that completely flat, we would have to lift up everything from in front of us and from behind us to get a gradual slope where there's not a gap. However, this is going to be sufficient, especially from what it was before, and we can't disturb the floor more than what we have already. And the customer only had 2 boxes left, so that's not going to be enough. We'll sort all of that out, put the border back in, and we should be good. The adhesive that we're using is high temperature, and as you can see, let me get back to this, these gaps, for some reason it seems like it's shrunk, but we're not going to be able to lift everything up and sort that out, because we'll have to literally pull everything back, and we're not going to be able to do that unless we lift up the whole floor. The customer's happy with that because he knows that the sofa's there, and as you can see, if we replace that, it's not going to achieve anything because it's the exact same size as the plank. So we'll have to lift up the whole floor and shift it. Seems like there's been a bit of an issue when it got installed in originally. So we're not going to entertain that because he says there's a big rug over that, and there is the sofa goes there. So we're just going to focus on this area, which is the entrance. And now we're just cutting down the border. No, I'm sorry, not cutting down the border. We're cutting down the field to the border. You know what I mean. So we're just getting that all nice and straight, making sure that there's no gaps there, because I must say, when we was waiting for the Ardex to dry, the cement, we saw a lot of gaps in the previous installer's job. What we're doing here is just labeling all the pieces, just so when it goes back, we're not running around like a headless chicken trying to find him. And we're doing it with these little bits as well, labeling them 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. So when we put it back, we're not lost. That's a little pro tip. Good to be organized and keep everything in place so you don't lose anything. So once that's all aside, we're going to obviously start laying our adhesive. Now, because we have to insert some things, we're actually putting some parts of the adhesive on the planks because it's very difficult to get in them little areas, but easier to get it on the planks because obviously you can lift it up, as you can see there. So yeah, we're gluing everything out now. HT adhesive, high temperature adhesive, so it's going to perform well in hot areas, especially here because there's bifold doors and there's like windows everywhere. A lot of heat gets into this kitchen. Potentially one of the causes that has caused it to fail. Anyway, done that, done this, boom, there's a job. All done, completely flat. No gaps in the main area. As I said, towards the right, there is a fair few gaps, but that is where the sofa's going, and we cannot lift that up because we have to replace the whole lot, basically. And that's it, job done. Had to stop off to get a munch, and we're all good.